There are many aspects to filmmaking that can be broken down into pre-production, production, and post-production. Today, we're going to be focusing on the post-production. This involves taking the footage and editing it, so cuts, transition, color key, audio, graphics, and anything you do to your footage after you're done filming. The icons that I just showed you were from an editing software called Adobe Premiere Pro CC. However, it wasn't always this easy. It all started in 1895 when a magician named George Méliès was filming on the streets when his camera jammed. When he looked back at the films, the bus suddenly turned into a hearse. This was magical to him and what we now call a jump cut. He later went on to invent other transitions such as the fade in, fade out, and overlapping dissolves. This meant that films, instead of being a single action shot, were able to tell a more intricate and deep story. However, he gave his films the feel of the perfect seat in a play by never changing the camera angle or its position. These were called tableaus. He would move the set, props, and even actors instead of moving the camera itself. A man named Edwin S. Porter took inspiration from Méliès and started creating his own films that often feature a scenario from a perspective, say this woman's bedroom, inside, and then the same scenario would play again but from a different perspective, outside. He did this for a while, until in 1903 he realized that he would push the boundaries. He made cuts with no transition between scenes and discarded excessive footage, which enhanced the film's impact by using editing to compress time, which helped the story move a lot faster. Porter hired David Griffith to star in one of his films, who later went on to work for a company named Biograph. He worked as a director, producing more than 450 films between 1908 and 1911. During that time, he invented the cut-in, where the film would show an establishing shot and cut to a wide shot, which emphasized the emotion in the scene. He also invented intercutting or cross-cutting, which shows one action cutting to another action that is occurring at the same time. But everything that I've just talked about has been done on celluloid film. The industry eventually switched to magnetic tapes, which were very hard to edit and required many tools and became a more technical job than creative. One of the many problems were that the editors had to edit without seeing the pictures themselves. Half a millimeter to the wrong side could completely mess up the entire film. That was until they finally assigned each frame a name or address composed of hours, minutes, seconds, and frames, which is what we recognize today as the time code. Everything up to this point is called linear editing, which basically means that if you put together a sequence and decided you want to change the beginning, everything after that would also have to be rearranged. However, there was another option: non-linear editing. Non-linear editing allowed for more creative freedom and had little to no drawbacks compared to the linear approach. This method required a computer with crazy fast data storage. In 1971, the CMX 900 was introduced for offline editing with storage disks the size of washing machines. It was the first computerized non-linear editor. In 1989, an editing machine named the Avid 1 was released and was the standard for Hollywood films. Shortly after, Adobe Premiere Pro was introduced, and that brings us up to more modern times. With the help of computer scientists, programmers, engineers, and many more, editing has changed so much in such a small amount of time. From physically cutting celluloid films to making the same cut by the press of 2 buttons, this has been the evolution of editing.